Marfoogle News live in 3, 2. All right, what is going on, guys? Russia vows to fully act on U.S. and how it is sending warships into Venezuela, sparking new World War III fears. Now, they are going to use the World War III in the headlines a lot in the next couple months because of what is going on right now. Mainly, people need to understand that we have a huge chunk of our Navy, up to something like 12 to 16 warships and submarines, combination of. And this is now getting to the point where the president is going to be served with plans. Again, Russia now is saying that they have pledged to be ready to help Venezuela. It's interesting how they word that. They're pledged to be ready to help. Again, Russia has vowed to stand ready to assist Venezuela as Donald Trump ramps up the U.S. military footprint near the South American country in what Washington has characterized as a counter-narcotics operation. Remember, this is all framed, and nobody really thinks it, as an anti-drug thing, right? Again, Russian Foreign Affairs Minister Sergei Lavrov stated the Kremlin is ready to fully act within the framework of the obligations that were mutually stipulated in this agreement with our Venezuelan friends, following the nation's signing of a strategic partnership in May. Now, back in May, I told you guys that all of these countries signing these strategic partnerships was a big deal because it's essentially, it's like us signing with any other country. If somebody strikes them, that we will come to help. In NATO's case, in NATO, we have an agreement to where if somebody strikes one of our NATO allies, if you hit one, you hit them all. We all have to go and go into a war to defend anybody in NATO. Again, there's stipulations on that as well, but these partnerships were a actual binding agreement that says that, hey, Russia's going to come in. Now, if you look at what's happening right now, the president is going to be given plans, a flurry of plans of what they're going to do militarily in Venezuela. The president is now connected to the narcotics. They said that he is part of this narcotic terrorism. So that gives them basically the right to go around, or some agree that they have the right to go around Congress's approval of war and do this under national security laws. So it's very, very crazy. We're going to be talking about this, I'm sure, over the next week. We'll be keeping you updated as far as it goes. Now, before we move on, make sure to go check out marfooglenews.com/EMP. I told you guys to wait on this because there was so many sales coming up. This is the big sale. This is the largest sale, the Veterans Day 25% off plus our $50 off sale. Again, this is the largest sale they've done in 4 years. Again, go to marfooglenews.com/EMP and make sure to use the code MARF. Again, that will be a definite smart move to make, especially since right now it is, again, at that 25% off plus that code, which gives you $50 off per device. All right, let's bring in my co-host/internet brother, Dex James. What is going on and how are you doing today?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I'm doing just fine.
All right, so let's talk about the top officials presenting Trump with these military options and what's going on here.
Exactly. So the senior military officials on Wednesday presented the president with updated options for potential operations in Venezuela, including strikes on land, according to multiple sources familiar with the meetings that happened at the White House. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff Dan Kane, and other senior officials briefed the president on the military options for the coming days, according to these sources. No final decision was made. However, two of the sources said that no final decisions were made. The White House spokespeople did not immediately comment. Pentagon spokesperson also declined to comment. So this is all coming from inside sources. And the U.S. intelligence community assisted in providing information for the potential operations, the sources said. The director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, did not attend the White House discussion because she was returning from an overseas trip. Secretary of State Marco Rubio was in Canada at the G7 summit during this time. So this is basically just the chief of Joint Chief of Staff and the Secretary of War, along with whoever else they brought, briefing the president on their military plans for striking Venezuela.
Now, remember Marco Rubio? How does that work, Dex? Marco Rubio holds a lot of power over what happens. Isn't that correct? Like his position is one that actually has kind of the key.
Yeah, Secretary of State, he certainly plays a pivotal role in dealing with negotiations with other countries, but at the same time, it's ultimately the president, obviously. But many had said he was one of the ones working on this deal against Venezuela or with Venezuela to either come to a resolution without a war or to whatever military action may come forward. So at least that's the rumor.
Yeah, and then Beijing has come in and essentially said that they are going to do an agreement, a no tariff trade agreement with Maduro. This is kind of a lifeline, they're calling it, or a life raft, right? China announced a no tariff trade agreement with Nicolas Maduro government, removing duties on Chinese and Venezuelan goods on about 400 tariff categories, which is absolutely gigantic. The goal appears to be China attempting to dominate the country's economy. An expert on China's global strategy, Gordon Chang, told Fox News. It says this really looks like China is going to completely take over the Venezuelan economy. It's going to decimate Venezuela's local industry. So once again, you have China heavily involved, heavily motivated to do these kind of things, right? This is China taking a playbook, right? A play right out of our playbook in the U.S. They are fiddling and pulling strings around the world to essentially nudge themselves up to the very top. Now, if you're from China or support China, I'm sure this is a good thing for you. You've been waiting for this. But for us Americans, this is not a good sign to see when you can, see it coming from so far away, and still so many people are in the dark. They see all of these wars and don't realize that there's one common denominator in all of them. You're looking at them on screen. So again, we're going to talk about the rest, and all 18-year-old males are going to be called up for a medical exam for the military. They're talking about evacuating one of a massive, massive city. We'll talk about that as well. We'll talk about everything over on Marfoogle TV, our full show going over the last 24 hours. So make sure to join us. We will see you over there in just a moment. Be safe, be prepared, and Marf out.